I told you that last week the headlines were dominated by events, discussions in Parliament. So on Sunday, I guess, the former minority leader declared his intention to move processes in Parliament to ensure that some 4 seats are going to be declared vacant. And true to his words, when Parliament reconvened, the minority leader, Ghanaekosen, spoke on the floor and did indicate that on the basis of the fact that some 4 individuals have decided to contest the election as independent candidate speaker, should determine that indeed those seats are vacant. The speaker deferred the ruling to Thursday, and on Thursday he gave his ruling. Now the MPP caucus challenged that. In fact, they went to court, and as we speak, the Supreme Court has determined that the ruling of the speaker should be stayed. Well, this morning we have the former majority leader in the House. He's also still the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, and he is the Member of Parliament for the people of Swami constituency. And do not forget, he's the long-serving Member of Parliament in the House as we speak. Honorable Osei Mensah Bonsu. Honorable, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning and thank you for having me here.
It's great to have you. First of all, let's start with what happened in 2020. You were the majority leader at the time. Speaker Kyei, after the MPP had written to him to declare the seat of Formula vacant, declared that indeed the seat was vacant and gave his ruling. I mean, we have the text there, etc. But you were the majority leader at the time. Were you in agreement with the speaker's decision at the time?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't, and I told him, both in conclave and in the House, that I disagreed with him. But I wasn't going to litigate it. But I made a point that I disagreed with him.
What was your point of disagreement?
First of all, we're dealing with Article 97. And the Constitution provides that a person shall vacate his seat if that person resigns from office as a member of Parliament by writing under his hand address to the Speaker. Now, the Honorable Osei had not done that. He had not written under his hand and told the Speaker that he was resigning as a member of Parliament.
Okay.
Second, it says a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament if, that is with respect to G, 97(1)G, if he leaves the party of which he was a member at the time of his election to Parliament to join another party, or cease to remain in Parliament as an independent member. The Honorable Osei, to which this related, had not said that he had left MPP. He hadn't said so. He had only given an indication that in the next Parliament, this Parliament, I was elected as a member of Parliament on the wings of MPP. I remain a member of Parliament on the wings of MPP. But for the next Parliament, I'm declaring my intent that for the next Parliament, I will switch to become an independent member of Parliament if I'm so elected. Right? So does it mean that he has written to the party? And the party cannot, once he has not done so, the party cannot take him away from Parliament. In fact, there is no provision here in 97.
So the MPP was wrong in 2020?
Yes.
Because they wrote to the Speaker.
Yes, I'm saying that if they wrote to the Speaker that this man is not a member of Parliament, they could write to the Speaker that he is not a member of the party any longer.
Okay.
For whatever offense, they could write to the Speaker. But that does not amount to the person saying that he had left the party, for which reason you would then trigger 97. And why do you refer to 97 to what Kyei did? and not talk about what happened to the Honorable Moses Mabengba in 1993. Okay. It was a similar case. The NDC wrote to the Speaker that they had expelled the Honorable Moses Mabengba, the then member for Saboba, because there had been an altercation between him and the Honorable B.A. Fuseni, who was their whip, the whip of the NDC. When they wrote to the Speaker, Dr. Obeda Samwa, who was the Attorney General at the time, came in and said the party cannot take him out of Parliament because, one, he has not on his own resigned from the party in accord with Article 97(1)(f). And also, he has not given an indication that he had left the party. So you cannot foist that on him. The party cannot foist that on him that, oh, he has left the party.
Okay, now...
So, that action from the NDC was stayed. And then Moses then was made to patch up with the Honorable B.A. Fuseni. You remember what happened? In 1992, there had been this Konkomba Nanumba fracas.
Yes.
The imbroglio between the two ethnic groups. And then on account of that, the Honorable Fuseni, when there was a statement in Parliament in contributing, said that if the Konkombes, who are settlers on the lands of the Dagombes, did not stop what they were doing, the Dagombes were going to flush them out. To which Moses then responded that the Konkombes are like the Israelis. If you kill one of us, we'll kill 10 of you. If you kill 100, we'll kill 1,000 of your folks. And that degenerated into confusion in Parliament. And that is when the NDC then stepped in to say that he should apologize to B.A. Fuseni. He said he wasn't going to apologize because what words that used against the Konkombes he deemed very offensive against his ethnic group, and he had also poured his heart out. If he had to apologize, he must be called to then withdraw the comments he had made. Failing that, he wasn't going to apologize. As I'm saying, eventually the party found a way to reconcile the two of them. Moses was under His Excellency John Mahama, our ambassador to Angola.
Okay. Okay.
Before then, when he left Parliament, they made him the regional minister for the entire northern region, where the conflict had even started. Anyway, so that is it. So I'm just saying that on account of that, and then my understanding of the Constitution, I told Professor Kyei that I disagreed with him.
People will ask, as the majority leader, knowing very well that the ruling of the Speaker at the time could persuade another Speaker or could serve as a negative precedent, you should have drawn his attention on the floor.
I told you that I spoke that day and said I disagreed with him.
On the floor?
Absolutely. Go and check the records. Go and check the answer. I said I disagreed with him, but I wasn't going to litigate the matter.
The matter, okay.
But I disagreed with him. Because we had earlier on spoken about that in the pre-sitting meeting at the conclave of the Speaker. And I didn't want to carry the disagreement to the floor. So when he said so, I said, Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, I disagree with you on this.
In the BEIN's ruling, the statement he used to confirm that indeed these members have left their parties was that he said he checked the notice of poll from the Electoral Commission that confirms that, for instance, Honorable Osei is seeking to contest as an as an MPP member, having contested the previous election as an independent candidate, and said that the likes of the Suhum MP, Cynthia Morrison, all of them. So he said the confirmation by the Electoral Commission then confirmed to him that these persons have left their parties, on which basis he then gave the ruling he gave. Was he wrong?
You have read the Constitution?
Yes, I have it.
What interpretation do you put to it?
Because I'm not
Because you're not. This is not written. It's not written in
yes, it is not.
In P.
Yes.
It's written in English.
Yes.
And I can vouch for your proficiency in English. You should understand this.
I do. I have.
Yes.
I have a fair understanding of what it
says. So what does it suggest to you?
The G?
No. Yes, the G. What does it suggest to you? That you have been elected to serve for 4 years.
Yes.
For a parliament. Now, within that 4 years, if you say that you are leaving your party within that period to join another party, then you cease to be a member of parliament. Indeed, the Honorable Kofi Asante, Abraham Kofi Asante, he wrote to the speaker, the then speaker, Speaker Alajete. Kofi was a member for Amenfi, was it Central or Amenfi West?
Okay.
NDC. Then he said, no, he had resigned from the NDC. And then he submitted a letter to the speaker. Alajete, at the time, was not available. He was indisposed. Freddie Blay was the first deputy speaker. So the letter got to Freddie Blay, who discussed with the speaker. The speaker said he should read the letter. So Freddie read Kofi Asante's letter, written and signed under his hand. So when he said so, then the vacancy occurred, because he had resigned from the party. Professor Osei, elected on the ticket of the NDC, he then also left his party. He crossed carpet. He left the NDC benches, crossed carpet, and said that from now on, he wanted to be considered as an MPP person. Then G triggered. Physically, he was in parliament and physically crossed the carpet. In fact, he made a statement that from now on, he has ceased to be a member
of the NDC group.
NDC. And that he was going back to his roots, because Professor Osei had been part of MPP.
Okay.
And maybe there was some confusion, and in the state of that confusion, he left to contest on the ticket of NDC and won and came to parliament. And in parliament, I think he felt very strange within the ranks of the NDC. So he crossed carpet and said he was resigning from the party to come back to his roots, the MPP. That meant that a vacancy had occurred. Then a by-election was held subsequent to that, which produced the Honorable Fuseini Inusa. And Fuseini Inusa was there.
Should be in the 2005.
Yes, Fuseini Inusa was there until the most recent 2020 elections.
Yes.
He elected
Murtala Mohammed.
And that produced Murtala Mohammed. So that is it. That is it.
Now, but leader, the H says, and let me read the preamble. He said, a member of parliament shall vacate his seat in parliament if he was elected a member of parliament as an independent candidate and joins a political party. For a CMS case, isn't that straightforward?
No, it's not.
It's not?
No.
Tell me why.
First of all, it says that, like the G preceding says, the F preceding says, it relates to that term. He says that for this term, I'm with the MPP. Now, these elections, according to your constitution, the parliamentary elections could hold on January 6th. Parliamentary elections can hold on January 6th.
Okay.
Because it says the constitution provides that it shall hold not earlier than 1 month before the expiry of the term of the member of parliament. That's all that the constitution says. So within that 1 month, the earliest date is December 7th, which is when normally we hold elections. But in theory, the elections could hold on January 7th, on January 6th. So if it held on January 6th, what would we say? What would we say? So preparatory to the holding of the elections and the results, which will put me in the next parliament, because I need to do this. I'm doing this now to signal that next year, if I'm elected, I'll be on the ticket of MPP. It's a declaration of intent. And on that basis, you are saying that he must vacate his seat. The speaker is totally wrong. It's totally and completely wrong.
Leader, what if the party upon which ticket you run, say in the previous election, declare or determine that you've left the party?
That is what I've told you.
It still will not be consequential. As long as this term has not expired.
I cited the case of Moses Mabemba.
Yes.
The party said he had left the party. They had expelled him from the party. In other words, he had left the party. Not on his own volition, but the party has expelled him. They came to Parliament to seek his removal. But someone, the same party, the Attorney General, said, no, you can't do that. He is required to resign from the party. He hasn't resigned. He is required to leave the party. He hasn't left the party. You are saying that you have expelled him, but he hasn't left the party. So that is it. But
there are people who believe that then it means that we've not been principled in this conversation and that we should have fought the ruling that was initially given by Speaker Okoye. Because some people say that the reason why we allowed it to go was because of the numbers, because it was not going to affect the MPP group as at the time. But now that the numbers are too close.
I was the leader. And when he held the meeting in his office, I told him that is not the right way to go. I disagree with him.
Okay.
And in Parliament, when he came to do that, I still said I disagree with him. We didn't go to court.
Leader, something happened. Even though Haruna said he was going to file a motion, what we saw was that Kyei Atuforsen made a statement.
Yes.
And on the basis of the statement, the speaker then promised that he was going to rule on Thursday. Please educate me. Is it that he was saying he will rule on the statement or on Haruna's motion? Because people are confused whether it is the motion that predetermined the ruling on Thursday or it is a statement by Kyei Atuforsen.
That is the absurdity of it. That is the absurdity of the purported ruling that the speaker made. Why? Because Haruna Idrisu, I was outside, but I was following what was happening. Haruna Idrisu had filed a petition with the speaker that I want to move a motion, right? I want to file a petition. And the petition, then, if you allow me, then the due process will be triggered. Our rules of procedure, our standing orders, provide that if a petition comes to Parliament, that petition must be shepherded in Parliament by a member of Parliament.
Okay.
So whether it's coming from outside or it's coming from he himself, he comes to speak to the petition, and on account of that, the speaker having heard the petition will refer it to the petitions committee. The new standing orders, that is what it provides. He must refer it to the petitions committee, who will go and study it, invite him, study it. If other people have to be invited, they will invite them, and then submit a report to Parliament, on account of which the speaker then will make a determination. Right? Haruna's petition, lodged with the speaker, has not been heard. So how can he rule on it if the petition has not been heard in Parliament? So clearly, what he did was on account of the statement by the Honorable Atuforsen. Statements, the purpose of statements are informative. They only inform the House about certain things. They don't elicit a ruling from any speaker. What speakers do, if maybe some matter is of grave concern, what the speaker will do is that, okay, this matter is of grave concern. It relates to this ministry. So can we invite the minister to come and give us further briefing on this? Maybe we give the minister some 3 days, 1 week. You should come to Parliament and give us further briefing. So the speaker will give a directive, right? This is a statement that borders on the Constitution. The advisor to Parliament, the legal advisor to Parliament, is the Attorney General. The ultimate legal advisor to Parliament is the Attorney General. So the Speaker could then have said, on account of this, can we invite the Attorney General to give us his own opinion about this? Right? The Speaker didn't do that. Then went into the Constitution and interpreted the Constitution to mean that there's a vacancy. That is where the problem lies. Don't forget, Haruna's own petition, he says, was going to pray the Speaker to give a proper interpretation to Article 97. That is contained in the petition.
Yes.
Is the Speaker clothed in authority to interpret the Constitution? I don't know whether it is the reason why the Speaker decided to shelve the petition and
because
went
he
on the tangent
dealt with the standing order.
and dealt with the statement. But the statements don't elicit ruling from any parliament. It's the reason why statements, by their nature, they are not to elicit or to engender debate. A person makes a statement and comments are made. When comments are made, the Speaker may issue directives, not a ruling. Statements don't elicit a ruling.
So you feel that was wrong in the first place?
Absolutely. That's why I'm saying that I disagree with the Speaker on the processes and procedures
now,
that...
When Haruna made or served that notice,
Yes.
then we were told that on Monday, a process has been filed by the now majority leader, Honorable Afinyo Makin, to invoke the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to interpret Article 97(1)(g) and H. But there are those who cite the Constitution, because you are the lover of the Constitution. So this morning we are doing a lot more Constitution. Article 122, which says an act or omission which obstructs or impedes Parliament in the performance of its functions, or which obstructs or impedes a member or officer of Parliament in the discharge of his duties, or affronts the dignity of Parliament, or which tends either directly or indirectly to produce the result, is contempt of Parliament. Now, there's also the provision that talks about no civil and criminal procedure are supposed to be filed on a member or on the House when you are going to Parliament or from Parliament. So people use those provisions to say, then the motion or the case that was filed by Afinyo Makin could have not been filed on the Speaker on the said day, because that will breach that constitutional provision that prevents people to file these kinds of cases on members of Parliament, Speaker of Parliament, or on the House when they are in the House or from the House. So how then did that application, how was it then filed on the Speaker? Because if the Constitution says you can't do so, then people say it was wrong in the first place by the majority leader to trigger that process.
First of all, the Constitution is one whole big document. If you read the Constitution in bits and pieces, you may get it wrong. Like people are getting it wrong with this interpretation or this understanding. They are completely wrong. Our Parliament is not like the Parliament of UK or the parliaments of the Westminster system, where parliaments are supreme, right? Our Parliament is not supreme in this country. The Parliament of Ghana is subservient to the Constitution.
Yes.
Right? So, assuming the Speaker had a discretionary power to interpret the Constitution as he deems appropriate, that interpretation should sit with the Constitution, which is why Article 296 provides, where in this Constitution or any other law, discretionary power is vested in any person or authority, that discretionary power shall be deemed to imply a duty to be fair and candid. The exercise of the discretionary power shall not be arbitrary, it shall not be capricious or biased, either by resentment, prejudice, or personal dislike, and shall be in accordance with due process of law. If you do anything that is inconsistent with the Constitution, ab initio, it is wrong, and it is null and void. It's of no effect.
Leader,
let's go to Article
116.
No, Article 2.
Article 2, okay.
Because this is about the interpretation of what constitutes vacancy.
Article 2, shall I read for you?
Yes.
It says 2, a person who alleges that, I'm reading 2.1. Article 2, clause 1.
2.1.
Yes. A person.
A and B.
Okay.
But particularly B.
A person who alleges that A, an enactment or anything contained in or done under the authority of that or any other enactment, or B, any act or omission of any person.
Of any person.
Is
including the speaker.
Yes. Is inconsistent with or is in contravention of a provision of this Constitution.
Yes.
May bring an action in the Supreme Court for a declaration to that effect.
Precisely.
You know, some people say the operative word there is declaration.
Yes.
So they put it in the context of the stay of execution. It wasn't a declaration, was it?
What?
It's just to stay the ruling of the Speaker.
Yes, the Speaker said he has ruled.
Mm-hmm.
And we have gone beyond that he had no business in making a ruling in the first place.
Okay.
He makes a ruling. And the ruling has consequential effect. If you say that these people, they are now minority, or these people, their number is short by 3, this caucus, the number now is short by 3, they are 138. Their number has been reduced by 3.
Okay.
What does it mean? So the caucus's number now is 135, according to the Speaker.
Yes.
And for the minority, 1 is also short. Their number, which is 137, is short by 1. What does it mean? It means that their number is 136, right? And if their number is 136, even though he fell short of making a firm pronouncement, it means that the people with the party or the caucus with the highest number or the higher number, which is 136, in his view, now assume the role of majority, which is what Atuforsen then pounced on to say that, okay, then we are now majority. And that is why the courts are saying that should be stayed. That should be stayed. Your own ruling, activating it should be stayed.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Leader, during the conversation, we were told that there was a consensus reached between the Speaker and the court, the Chief Justice for that matter, that processes should be filed on the House on a certain day. I think they mentioned Monday.
Yes.
But the majority leader made us know that he tried to file the process on Tuesday. There are those who...
Not Tuesday, Monday.
Monday, okay.
The House sat on Tuesday.
Okay.
And the Speaker, as usual, directed the clerk that he should not receive the service. That's the Speaker. That's the Speaker. And this is not the first time. What's the man's name? Ascent Central.
Ghanaekosen. Yeah.
When they came to serve Parliament, at the time he was in Dubai, he said to the clerk that he should refuse service. So they came there on more than 10 occasions. The Speaker directed that they should. Are we under the rule of law? Or is the Speaker a law unto himself? That's the difficulty. So in this case, when they came on Monday and the Speaker refused, and the officer was there, they threw it at the officer and left and said, we have served you. That was Monday. Should we get to that extent?
So, leader,
should we get to that extent?
Based on everything you've said, what do you expect in Parliament tomorrow? Because the minority held the press. I'm sure they will have problem with me calling them minority. But yes, the NDC group held a press conference yesterday and said that as far as they are concerned, they are the majority caucus, and they will protect that. What will happen in Parliament tomorrow?
Well,
because they said they only received communication from the Speaker.
The Speaker is inviting chaos.
There will be chaos.
Well, if the majority go there and say that, well, we belong to the right-hand side, will not allow you to take your seats here. What is going to happen? I mean, unnecessary constitutional crisis. Don't forget, soon after he had been chosen by Parliament as the Speaker, he was the one who came in to say that, no. At the time, I was the majority leader. And he said, no, we don't have the majority. And that there is a hung parliament. And that their co-leaders are challenging. So one day I said, Mr. Speaker, do you understand the concept of hung parliament? The concept of hung parliament is where the numbers are the same, of the caucuses are the same. So we are divided right down the middle. So maybe NDC 100, NDC and their allies, if they have maybe 100, the caucus, minority caucus 100, majority caucus 100. So we are divided right down the middle. That is what is called a hung parliament. And when we have that, then the leadership rotates. The majority leader will serve maybe for 1 year, then the following year he will come to the minority.
I see.
And then the minority leader then will become the majority leader. That's how it operates. Or maybe you serve half the term of the life of Parliament, and then the other leader then serves half the term of the life of Parliament. That is what is involved. So I ask Mr. Speaker, do you really mean what you are saying? Because this is the necessary implication. So your introduction of co-leadership and so on, you are totally wrong. And you are leading this country on a very slippery and dangerous road. I told him in Parliament. Ever since he dropped that, the same Speaker is the one who, after the conduct of Adjuasafu, the conduct was referred to the Privileges Committee, and the Speaker said, after the committee had decided or determined, or at least a majority of the committee members had found her guilty, and that he should leave Parliament. The Speaker said no, they cannot decide for, the committee cannot decide for Parliament. Their report should come to Parliament for Parliament to determine. The plenary. Now, you read Article 97.
Yes.
You read Article 97. Read it again. 1C. Article 197, 1C. Okay, so
what does it say? Let me find Article 97.
1C.
So that we will appreciate exactly what it says. That 1C, if he is a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament. C, yes. If he is absent without the permission in writing of the Speaker,
yes,
and he is unable to offer a reasonable explanation to the Parliamentary Committee on privileges from 15 sittings of a meeting of Parliament during any period that Parliament has been summoned to meet and continues to meet.
What does it mean? What does it mean? You are absent for 15 days.
Yeah.
You have not sought permission
from the Speaker
and approval from the Speaker. And in this case, it was the Speaker himself who came to Parliament and said that there are these three people
they have not
who have not been in Parliament for more than 15 days, and they have not sought permission from me. I have not also approved of anything for them. They are not here. And so I'm referring their conduct to the Privileges Committee. It goes to the Privileges Committee. They find one of them guilty. The Speaker then comes in to say that, no, your report should come for the House to make a determination. What is this saying? When you read it, what does it mean? Is it to be made by the committee or the Parliament as a whole? Then he said, no, the committee is the committee of Parliament, so whatever they do should come to Parliament. I said, I disagree with you. Because it's not only at this place that committees are given the authority. You go to Article 106. In the determination of a matter that is urgent before the House, right? And that is
Article
106 clause 13.
Okay. I should share it with you.
Yes,
it
share
says,
with your
yes, Article 106 clause
13.
Clause 13.
Yes.
Okay, so let me find the 13. The 13 is somewhere. So let me. Okay, it said where it is determined by a committee of parliament appointed for the purpose that a particular bill is of an urgent nature, the provisions of the proceedings clauses of this article other than clause 1 and paragraph A of clause 2 shall not apply, and accordingly the president shall give his assent to the bill on its presentation for assent.
Yes, so it's a committee of parliament that makes that determination.
Okay.
It's not the entire parliament. They do so on behalf of parliament. Again, you look at Article 177, clause 1. If there is anything after maybe you have approved, parliament has approved a budget, then there's a force majeure, something happens, and we need money. The money is not contained in the budget, so no provision has been made to it, right? No provision has been made to the project or to for that purpose, and then something happens. The finance minister could approach the finance committee that this thing is very urgent. Maybe parliament is on recess. I will need money to tackle this business. The finance committee could grant the finance minister that opportunity to take the money from the contingency fund. Read Article 177(1).
Okay. It's like...
if you like, let me read it for you.
Yes, leader, please read it.
There shall be paid into the contingency fund monies voted for the purpose by parliament, and advances may be made from that fund which are authorized by the committee responsible for financial measures in parliament whenever the committee is satisfied that there has arisen an urgent or unforeseen need for expenditure for which no other provision exists to meet the need. That determination is made by a committee.
Okay.
So if the speaker insists that no, it must be approved by plenary, he's wrong.
So you feel that the speaker on a number of occasions have given
Very wrong. Regrettably, whenever the speaker ventures into the constitutional order, he gets it wrong. You remember, he was the same person who said deputy speakers cannot vote.
Yes, and the Supreme Court.
And the Supreme Court, it went to the Supreme Court, it was ruled against him.
They held your opposition.
Yes. The same person. And that occasioned serious brawl in Parliament because the second deputy speaker was presiding, and they said they would not allow him to participate in voting because the speaker, who had written from Dubai, because at the time he was in Dubai, but he wrote from Dubai that deputy speakers cannot vote.
Leader, you are the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs.
And then let's go on a bit. You remember 2022? Budget, when we were discussing the principles of
the budget was rejected, and
the budget was rejected.
You guys,
look at Article 104. Read Article 104.
Okay, what does it say?
Please read Article 104.
Okay, leader is asking us to read Article 104 of the Constitution.
Yes.
So please, if you are not holding your Constitution this morning, maybe you will not be able to follow this conversation properly. So that's why you have to. Now it says that except as otherwise provided in this Constitution, matters in Parliament shall be determined by the votes of the majority of members present and voting, with at least half of all members. So when we come to taking a decision in Parliament, plenary, that decision involves the presence of at least 1/2 of members in Parliament. The NDC minority had 137, which is one person less than 1/2 of the 275. So when the Speaker knew that at the time, 3 of our members had traveled outside, they were not in, and so he said, "Oh, let's take a decision." I was also strategic. I said, "Take a decision on what?"
He said we should take a decision on the budget. I went with him through the budget, Article 179. I said, look, at this stage, we are not supposed to even take a decision. He wouldn't agree with me. He said, oh, but even though I've seen what you are pointing me to, by convention and practice, we have been voting, so let's vote. I said, look at what is contained in the Constitution. He wanted us to go on that path because, for whatever purpose. So I said my colleagues should leave. Still, they all left. And we all left. Then he said the remaining 137 had voted to reject the budget. When, on the phase of Article 104, they couldn't have taken a decision. 4 on behalf of the entire parliament. The following day, it was headlines, budget rejected. They interviewed me. I said, it's much ado about nothing. And again, the speaker has gotten it wrong. So we came back. When we came back the following day, we did not reverse that decision or did not rescind the so-called decision.
Because you thought a decision had not been taken in the
No decision had been taken in the first place. It was a nullity. And I made the point clear on the floor of the House. As far as we are concerned, there's no decision. And they had votes and proceedings which had captured that Parliament had rejected it. I questioned the clerk. Do you understand the Constitution? You should go and nullify this. No decision has been taken. Or a decision has been taken by the minority who did not measure up to the number. So they couldn't purport to have taken a decision for Parliament. So he went ahead and then approved of the budget. Today, this country is in some constitutional crisis, I should say, with respect to certain bills that have been passed. LGBT. Parliament has passed it. It's resting somewhere. The president has not assented to it. Anti-witchcraft. Parliament has passed it. It's resting somewhere. The president has not. And even the one on death penalty to coup protests.
Yes.
The Constitution provides that if you do that, you are liable to, death sentence. Then you go and use a bill to say that, no, you should be imprisoned for life. What does it mean? You are trying to amend the Constitution through the back door by a statute. You can't do that. In any event, the Constitution provides in Article 108. Read Article 108. Read Article 108. It provides in Article 108 that Parliament shall not, unless a bill is introduced or the motion is introduced by or on behalf of the President, proceed upon a bill including an amendment to that bill, which in the opinion of the person presiding makes provision for any of the following. And the relevant portion is A, Roman number 2.
Okay, it says the imposition of a charge on the consolidated fund or other public funds of Ghana, or the alteration of any such charge otherwise done by reduction or it continues by II. Should I?
Yes, read the
Okay, it says that the payment issue or withdrawal from the consolidated fund or other public funds of Ghana of any monies not charged on the consolidated fund or any increase in the amount of that payment issue or withdrawal or...
Precisely. So what it means is that if you are doing any bill, right, you are doing any bill, the implementation of which would occasion withdrawing money from the consolidated fund, that bill should come from the executive and not from Parliament as a body or from an individual member of Parliament. The Speaker allowed this. So I told him.
The Speaker is a lawyer. He's a senior member of Parliament. He's been in Parliament for 32 years.
Yes.
Do you think it's... Why do you think, in your view, he makes these mistakes, as you've pointed out? In your view, why do you think...
I don't know. I'm not in his mind, so I don't know. But one or two things. Either he has not really averted his minds to those things very well, or maybe deliberate.
Now, something has happened. You've said that the ruling can present a situation where we'll have chaos in Parliament.
Yes.
You are the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs. You are a close friend to the Speaker. You are very close to the President, and I'm sure you you have conversation with the Chief Justice as well. Would you call for a meeting, kind of, to deliberate on this matter so that on the floor on Tuesday, we will not have the kind of chaos we saw on the 7th of January? Because Ghanaians were really, really appalled by that show. Would you do any such thing?
I think it's, I mean, nothing can take the place of joy matters, so that we arrive at a very peaceful conclusion, which will be in tandem with the law. You can't set the law aside and pretend that you are the chief in Parliament and do whatever pleases you. You can't do that. You can't do that. And we should all try to avoid any
but Mr. Minister, will you intervene?
Well, I have not called him yet, but today, having heard my colleague, the Honorable Atuforsen, and yesterday I engaged him in some chats. I didn't even know what he had done. So in the evening, we were chatting, and then he said, "Oh, you come back to me." And later on, there was a twist, and so I said, "Okay, I'll be in Accra on Tuesday, and I'll meet." I had not heard, even though I had seen the advert that we were going to do a presser. I did not really follow it. And when I was chatting with him, apparently they had done it, but I didn't bring it back because it's a different conversation. So this morning, on my way to one of your sister stations, I heard his voice. I said, "Hey, my friend, what do you want to do in Parliament?" I mean, to me, he will reduce himself to a laughing stock if he allows himself to be led by the force of populism.
You mean the Speaker or the minority?
The minority leader. I think he should be careful.
The minority yesterday.
We are all supposed to be under the rule of law, right? And as far as the interpretation of the Constitution is concerned, the Supreme Court is the ultimate, right? The issue that you raised about the Honorable Afenyo marking.
Yes.
You know, he's going to the courts. You know, he foresaw that these things could play out.
Okay.
So he says that I'm coming here. My own people have done this. So I'm seeking your interpretation. Does this declaration of intent amount to vacation of seats? That's the heart of what
he's seeking for.
He's seeking. So before, and that is the service that the Speaker said they should refuse. So before the court could sit, then he comes with this. The court said, "Okay, this matter is before us. The primary matter is before us. So, and you have come in with this. So you hold on. We'll deal with it, and then it will affect your ruling, right? If it should hold, it will hold."
But the minority yesterday say they only received formal communication from the Speaker, and that as they spoke yesterday, nothing of that sort had been received. Based on your experience and knowledge, that they have not received a formal communication from the Speaker, that the ruling he gave on Thursday has been stayed, for which reason the normalcy is going to return. They said they have not received anything like that.
That was Sunday.
Yes, they spoke on Sunday. I don't know if that has happened today.
That was Sunday. And Friday, right, I think when they had the declaration from the Supreme Court, the Parliament was supposed to be set on Friday.
Okay.
If they are not able to serve them on Friday, certainly today, Monday, they will serve him.
Okay.
Which then will mean that by Tuesday, I believe, tomorrow, I believe normalcy will prevail. But as I'm saying, I would endeavor to speak with him, and then we'll see how it goes. I only hope that Parliament of Ghana would not reduce itself to a laughing stock.
Would you be in Parliament tomorrow?
No. I have a few things sorting out here, but I'll go in the evening, so that Wednesday I'll be there.
Okay. We've had a constitutional masterclass on the first part of the conversation so far. That's the former majority leader. He's the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs. He's still the Member of Parliament for Swami constituency. Leader, someone wants me to ask you.
Yeah.
He thought that majority leaders automatically become Ministers of Parliamentary Affairs and leader of government business. How is your case different? He wants to know, like, how is it that you're still holding on to the ministerial position, yet you're not the majority leader?
Oh, I think it's anomalous. The reason why majority leaders should be ministers is, I see, you are the leader of government business. You are the leader of government business. If you are the leader of government business and you are bringing government business to Parliament, you yourself, you understand the formation of policies and principles that underpin government business that you are sending to Parliament. So you must be a cabinet minister where these things are fashioned out. Otherwise, if you are not, then you can't even present papers in Parliament on behalf of government. You lead government business, and yet papers coming from the executive, you can't present, you can't send them to Parliament. What kind of government?
So it means, as things stand, your successor is not the minister.
No, and that's my worry. I thought that, and I've spoken with him, that the president should make him a minister.
Oh, you had already spoken to the president to make him a minister. Oh, so
so that I can even if it means me stepping out for him, I'll do that. But for whatever reason, I think he wants it as it is.
Talking about the president, you know, I've asked listeners to send their questions. Someone is asking, were you compelled by the president to resign, or you yourself took the decision?
I myself took a decision.
Okay.
I myself took a decision. Remember that our orders provide that the leader of the majority or the minority should be one who is chosen by the MPs themselves.
Yes.
Not the president, not the party. Right? And I think the president, when he met me, was talking about what strategy that he had in mind, so that I could step aside for somebody to, to assume my position. First, because I had said I wasn't going to contest.
Yes.
He thought maybe the zeal, the commitment to fight for the party may not be there. That was number one. Number two, also that the central region is where it was assumed that John was going to take his running mate from.
Okay.
And if he did that, we will be seen to be very weak in the central region. So he thought that we needed a bold face in the central region. And so if we could make...
So the president had that discussion with you?
Yes, my deputy. I had traveled out and these things were playing out. When I came back, the president had also traveled out. So we had not had a discussion yet, but it was playing out. And so, remember, the first deputy speaker, Osei, and some senior members led some of the MPs who had appended their signatures. At the time, about 87 of them. Yes,
many of them from the Ashanti region.
87 out of 138. And many of the ministers who were not even there, when some called me and said, oh, we have heard, but we are not in support of it. I would say that maybe not less than 100 of them, if it came to the MPs taking a decision, not less than 100 would have voted for me. But then, how was it going to benefit me and benefit the party? It was going to shake the party. And then, my ultimate consideration was that I'd been seen as a lead figure, pushing for Dr. Bawumia to be elected as the flag bearer. And my fear was that it might affect his own standing in the party. And that is why I pulled out.
Some thought that there were orchestration to remove you as the majority leader because of the stance you took on the finance minister. There are those who believe that when you did that, there was a discussion to also pay you back, and your removal was orchestrated as a result of it.
People didn't even understand the role that I played. I was the one who went to the caucus that had met, and were planning that. And I said, look, we have a budget that is standing that we have to deal with. A budget that is going to be presented by the minister. Right. If we take him out now, who's going to lead it? And we're also having these discussions with the IMF. He's leading the effort of the country. So let's, as for people saying that the finance minister should go, I mean, it was all over in the whole country. You represent constituents. So when you come back with a story, I don't begrudge you. At least let's wait until these things.
Okay, I'm done with.
And that is what I told the president. I called the MPs and give them the assurance that so and so. And exactly what I discussed with the president.
Did some people in power misconstrue your role in that process to mean perhaps you led the whole...
Listen. If it had been that, who were the leaders? Who were the leaders of that group? The prime leader was Brian Champon.
Brian Champon, okay.
Is Brian Champon not a minister now?
He is. So, and the MP for Subin was...
Eugene.
Yes.
But I'm saying that Brian Champon now, he wasn't a minister.
Okay.
But he has been made a minister.
Okay.
Right? Katie Hammond and others, they were all part of it. They have been made ministers. So if it was on that account, how does it, what sense does it make?
Leader, let's talk about...
So I'm just saying that it is not true. And I was considering the effects on Dr. Bawumia. So I will tell you that I even called him and said, look, he was the only person I called.
The vice president? Okay.
Yes. I have to pull out just to protect the party, to save the party from any crisis. Because the MPs they had dug in that they were going to face either the president or the party.
Hey.
Yes.
It
was going to be very calamitous for the party. And so I said, look, I don't want to
ensure that you still remain as their leader.
Yes. I don't want to be the eye of the storm. That is why
you wrote in your
yes. People say that it was pre-prepared. No, I was listening to. If people saw me when the president was speaking, I was taking down some notes. I had it was agreed, the votes and proceedings. When we were going, I had that, so I just wrote it at the back.
And then
when he called me, I read it out.
Interesting.
I want to save the party, and the president himself was stunned. Because he thought I was going to take in.
Oh.
And he said, and then he expressed joy and said, he realizes that I'm very principled and so on and so forth. Right. And then we moved on.
Leader, let's spend some few time to talk about Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia.
Yeah.
You chaired his manifesto committee.
Yes.
And the agenda is jobs, selfless leadership, jobs, and bold solution for jobs and businesses.
Yes.
People accuse your government that you said that you're going to create jobs for especially young people.
Yes.
One tool to measuring the issue of jobs in our country or employment is to check the unemployment rate. You said before you took office, it was around 7%, close to 8%. As we speak, it has jumped to 15% according to the Ghana Statistical Service. So they look at that and say, this is your track record when it comes to job creation. On that basis, we may not be able to trust you if your candidate promises to create more jobs. How do you respond to that?
Well, the figures churned out by the Statistical Service, I don't question. What it means is that we must up our game. But when the promise was made, we had not had COVID, which has its own devastating effects on industry and the production chain, thrown many people out of jobs. We did not have it. We had not had it yet. So we said, we're going to do this. And then we came with the employment modules that we created to transition job seekers, especially those of them leaving tertiary institutions. Then we came in with these practical employment that were created. For instance, when we did the planting for food and jobs, do you know how many people that went into agriculture? Right? Do you know how many people who went into it? We need to sanitize the environment to make agriculture much more attractive, so a lot of people will get in there. We then came in with this one district, one factory that we needed to do and expand the frontiers of production and productivity in the country. We've done well in that sphere, but admittedly we could do much more than that. That is, but for these occurrences, we could do much more than that. We need to push the frontiers, which is what Dr. Bawumia is promising. For the planting for food and jobs, to facilitate that, we said we were going to create this one village, one dam. We have done well in that, but we still can do more, much more, right? I keep saying that, look, you are from the north, right?
Yes, I'm from Wenchi, but I have ties with the north, yes.
Oh, you are from Wenchi?
Yes.
Okay, you are in the Savannah zone. The northern section of our country, especially the upper regions, upper east, upper west, they are approaching, they are Savannah, part of the Savannah, but now they are approaching Sahel conditions.
Okay.
It's rainier in upper west, upper east, than the south of Burkina Faso, which is Sahel. But it's greener to the south of Burkina Faso than the upper regions of Ghana. Why? It's because if you go there, right, once you cross Paga to Burkina, on the road from there to Ouagadougou, every stream, every river, every streamlet that the road crosses, you see that on one side or the other of the road, there is an embankment that is created to impound the waters, and they use the waters for irrigation. We don't do that. We don't do that. In Burkina Faso, they don't allow for wild bushfires. Ghana, every year, deliberately we are setting the shrubs on fire, destroying the vegetation. And when you ask them, oh, we want to regrow the vegetation for our cattle and sheep, there are many more cattle and sheep in Burkina Faso than there are in Ghana. We are doing that, destroying the vegetation that we have. That is why it's greener down south. In Burkina Faso, when any community where there is wildfire, the next succeeding year, what we will call common fund here, what central government should be bringing to that district, they call them their prefecture, because they have a prefect who administers, like our district chief executive, who administers that place. Now, the money that they bring, they will tell you that you are going to use that to regreen the place. Nothing will happen to you this year. You are using that road, they'll come and estimate. This money will go to this for regreening it. So, in Burkina, if they see you setting fire, the people themselves will lynch you. They will lynch you. That's why it's greener there. We should enforce our rules. Right? So I'm just saying that if we did that, if we concentrated on the one village, one dam, it will help us to make our places.
You say we've not done a good job with that so far.
I'm saying that we have done well.
But you could have done better.
There's much more room for improvement. Of course, everybody knows the engagement with the IMF and money is coming in stopped. So there was not much money to be used into those areas. That's why we couldn't do as much as we had wanted. But if they come fully on stream, they will boost agriculture. And as I'm saying, make it much more attractive. And then people will go into it. And then there will be many more factories on board to then help us to process the produce from the farm gates. And I think that will take us somewhere. That is as far as agriculture is concerned. You hear of Dr. Bawumia talking about the resort to digitalization to create many more jobs.
1 million
yes.
Jobs.
That's the way to go.
In
the digital space.
Yes.
That's the way to go. I'll tell you. I've heard whilst I was away that Dr. JM went somewhere to, I think one of the Ghana communities. I was telling them that my opponent has been talking about digitalization. You eat cake and fish. What's the relevance of digitalization to you eating cake and fish? Well, I'll tell you, 2023, when we were strapped of cash, this digitalization at the ports, which at his instance, Dr. Bawumia's instance, we started piloting, they were able to yield for us. That's reducing the person-to-person contacts.
Okay.
It contributed in yielding additional almost 9 billion to GRA. You saw the performance of GRA last year. The past 30 years, we have not seen them do as much as they did last year. This year, the yields is going to be much more than 10 billion. Those are the reasons why, one of the reasons why the World Bank IMF has seen the major turnaround post-COVID within such a short time. And the first quarter of this year, you saw the growth, 4.7.
Yes.
The second quarter, 6.9. Hopefully, by the close of the year, it is anticipated that we'll be able to grow close to about 6%, between 5.5 and 6%. And that will be massive. That will be massive. I heard John JM say that, when Dr. Bawumia is calling for a debate on the economy, he himself is saying that now the issue at stake should be the economy. He thinks that we have not managed the economy well. But I'm saying to us, the standards for measuring the growth of the economy, you do know, GDP, which is the main yardstick. GDP growth rate under John Mahama, the 4-year term, average was 2.9%. Akufo-Addo inherits, then he's growing the economy at 7% from your 2.9, and we say that you have mismanaged the economy. We don't want to talk about the COVID circumstances and what it entailed. But even post-COVID, when we took a nosedive to 0.5% thereafter, have you seen what is happening? The following year, we were able to grow about 2.5%. Then last year, how much was it? And then this year. So the average, even post-COVID, is going to be in the region of about 4.2%. You, no COVID, you grew at 2.9. Somebody does 4.2%, and you are saying that he is mismanaging the economy.
I see.
The proof of the padding is the eating. People will know. So come, let's debate the economy. You say we don't come.
We'll have to, because of time, we'll have to leave it there. I understand you have other events to attend. Yes. But let's wrap up with this, because there are those who have sent in messages to say, I mean, he said, I can properly be identified as a floating voter.
You?
No, not me.
Or the person who sent the message?
Yes.
Right.
He was considering voting for another candidate,
right,
other than your candidate.
Right.
But he said that with the people like Honorable Osei Mensah Bonsu, I look at them and I feel that if I vote against that candidate, I may lose his contribution towards governance. And so he may be the reason why perhaps I may
everything.
consider voting for the MPP because of the way he does his politics. So talk to me, or talk to the floating voter.
Right.
In summary,
well,
why is Bawumia better than all the other candidates, especially John Dramani Mahama? So that we wrap up.
John, we have tested, we have seen, and people should listen to him. Unfortunately, John is not reinventing himself. It's just, behaving to type the old order. He's not even addressing or introducing new policies. That would
Let's introduce 24-hour economy.
What's your own understanding of 24-hour economy?
That our economy will run on 24 hours. So 3 shifts, 3 people, they will come, go.
So classrooms,
so that
classrooms, 3 shifts.
Maybe not classrooms.
Now you are taking exceptions.
Industries and factories.
Farming, 3 shifts.
Maybe other sector of the economy.
Oh, goodness. I think we should be careful and take ourselves much more seriously. So I think that Dr. Bawumia, the policies that is unveiling, people talk about how difficult the economy is now. We appreciate
absolutely. You appreciate that?
Yes.
Do you discuss it at a cabinet that the people of Ghana are suffering?
Everybody knows.
Yeah.
How are you going to... A government is not put in place to explain away problems. You are put there to solve problems. Right?
Are you solving it?
Yes. So, for instance, the high cost of living. He says, how do you address it? The high cost of living is felt in your house, right? If you are Timuno, is the first port of call. The rent that you are paying, the water bill, the electricity bill. You step out, you want to go outside, you enter a taxi, the amount that you pay on trotro or taxi to get to work, the food that you eat, all these things. The man is very practical. Let's look. Now, let's deal with housing. The housing deficit in this country is about 1.8 million, what they tell us. Even though
housing units.
I dispute it. I always tell them that.
It's more or less.
I think that is much, much less.
I see.
Why do I say so? I say so because the last housing and population census that we did, right, indicated to us that there are about 12 million houses in the system, right? That includes kiosks and so on.
And uncompleted ones.
No, not uncompleted.
Okay.
It doesn't include
houses
that are good for habitation,
okay.
including kiosks.
Yes,
but the kiosks, over 500,000 in the country, which people are sleeping in. Right, plus others. Let's say about 1 million. It takes it to about.
So his solution to the housing problem.
11 million houses. The population of this country is 33 million. So if there are 11 million houses, and you have 33 million, the occupancy rate is what? 3 per house, possibly. 3 people per house, and you say that still the housing deficit is 1.5 million or 1.8 million. I disagree. So it's much, much less. But see, the problem is that the houses that people are building, the estate developers, they are building what is called the owner-occupier structures. 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, come and buy. The average person walking the streets of Kumasi and Accra, wiping columns of sweat off his forehead, is not looking for that kind of accommodation. He's looking for a single bedroom. So what we are not doing now is building those single bedrooms in flats. Come and rent. You pay, maybe you leave school, the university. That's what we can afford. You have national service. That's what we can afford. Perhaps even you may even decide to live 2 people to one bedroom. Maybe after service, you fork out, you go and do this. You are able now to go and live on your own. That is what obtains elsewhere. So he says that first, let's introduce what is called social housing. And that is my concentration. We need also to control land use. Because we are not controlling that and going vertical. Everybody is going to build his own house. I keep saying that if we give ourselves the next 10, 15 years, Accra and Winneba will merge and become one big conurbation. Meanwhile, as we are spreading out, we are taking over farmlands. We are threatening food security. So he says, let's do this to arrest the deficit in housing. Then he tells us that electricity, we are paying high bills. Why? It's because, you see, when we had a Dumso, John, he wanted to cure the Dumso mischief. So he brought in these thermal plants. They were emergency plants. They're not supposed to be forever. So they were supposed to help us resolve the problem. Now they have become permanent. The cost of generating electricity from these thermal plants is 16, 17 cents per kilowatt hour. You have to pay. They come under this pay or take or pay. You have to pay 16, 17 cents per kilowatt hour. Akosombo is giving us about 4 cents per kilowatt hour. Pong is 5 cents. Bui is about 6 cents. So when you have the generation mix, when you put all these together, the generation mix in this country then brings it down a bit to about 13 cents per kilowatt hour. We can pay that. If you want to do production with industries, the producers will be uncompetitive with the what is coming from outside. Okay. So people will buy those from outside because it will be cheaper. That is why Bawumia is saying that, look, when I come, the first 4 years, I'm going to generate about 2,000 megawatts of solar energy. Because solar energy, at the end of the day, is much, much cheaper. Solar is in the region of thermal, but it's even cheaper than, hydro. It's even cheaper at the end of the day. It's supposed to be cheaper than even hydro. So it's around 3 cents per kilowatt hour. So if it comes on stream, now for hydro, the generation Akosombo Bui Pong gives us about 1,600 megawatts. Yes, megawatts. If you have solar, it says 2,000. That would be about 3,600. Plus those of them in the system now, it will be close to 4,000 megawatts. Now, today, the peak demand of our energy demand is around 3,500, 3,600 megawatts, right? But installed capacity is about 5,600 megawatts. That's why we say that we have excess of about 2,000. 2,000. Not too bad. If the price was good, we could export to other countries. We can't export because of the price.
But I thought we were exporting to the
likes of Côte d'Ivoire. We can't export. When we export, we have to subsidize.
Okay.
When we export.
So the price is uncompetitive.
It's uncompetitive. And when we're in trouble, at the height of Dumso, when we're in trouble and we're taking from Côte d'Ivoire subsists on thermal energy. They are using plants. You don't have hydropower. Plants. And yet, their own, because since they depend entirely on thermal, and yet their own is in the region of 12 cents per kilowatt hour. Our own is 16, 17 cents. How did it happen that way? You remember when they were bringing these Mary and others, in Parliament I was saying that the cost was padded. We are reaping the dividends. So Bawumia says, let me come. When I do this, then those thermal plants, they'll be forced to reduce their own. Because if it comes and you produce and the price is not, who is going to take it? You take your plant away.
I see. Leader.
So that is it.
Okay.
For fuel, Bawumia then introduces this gold for oil. And you know what it has done? It stabilized the price of our oil purchases. We've not been able to get it fully right.
Yes, because every now and then prices keep going up.
Yes, we've not been able to get it fully right. But when we do that, we'll be killing maybe 3 birds with just 1 stone. People produce gold. The gold that is produced in Ghana, Akufo-Addo, the last message on the State of the Nation, said, oh, we are now producing 4 million ounces. We have overtaken
South Africa.
So we are the leading producer of gold. But I'll tell you that the gold watch, and they tell us that we produce in the region of about 8 million ounces.
So
what it means is that about 4 million
off the radar.
Absolutely. When you go to Dubai alone, our gold that is going to Dubai for refinery, I'll tell you, is more than 4 million ounces. Dubai alone. We have not spoken about what is going to India, what is going to China, what is going to America, what is going to Switzerland, what is going to Australia. If we're able to harvest all these things, right, we give concessions to people to produce gold. They don't declare anything. You are close to this place, Ahensai.
Yes.
You know, I think even here there used to be a big sawmill, right? Before
LL is
LLL
just behind us.
LLL, bomb press, and all those things. This place was a site for.
Yes, it was an industrial kind of.
When they were doing the sawmills, we had customs people sitting there. So on a daily basis, they knew what the throughput was. You did the sawing, and then they know that the state has this entitlement. It's a natural resource. The state has a stake in it. This is how much you should pay to the state, right? That is not happening with the gold production centers. The GRA officials are not there. When you go to Jubilee Field, the oil production, there are GRA officers there monitoring the meters.
The receipts.
How much is coming to the tanker. Okay. And then on account of that, the state has its own. But these gold people, the GRA people is not there. When they go there, they are driving them away. When they are there, they will know how much is being produced. The state will have a stake. So I'm just saying, that is also all that, the combination of that is going to help us to bring down the cost of living. Okay. Planting for Food and Jobs says I'm going to expand it, bring the food prices down. We have food sufficiency first and food security, right? For the first time since a champion introduced Operation Feed Yourself in 1970, 1972, 1973, when for the first time in the history of this country we're able to achieve food sufficiency in maize production and exported maize outside, 74, 75, 76. Since that time, Ghana has always been importing maize. It was only recently, the Kufuor's time, that we have not imported maize over the past 3 years, made for consumption. Because thanks to the effort of Planning for Food and Jobs, if we expanded it, what money that we need to import maize will be a thing of the past. Okay. So you can trust Belgia. Building the human capital. When somebody tells you that maybe we 2 billion and maybe share education, John Mahama. Belgia says that's the way to go to build human capital. So when we talk about unemployment, we all know that we are now bringing so many people in the stream. Okay. We need to accommodate them. The state cannot. Of course, the state offering employment through the security services, education services, employment of teachers, Agenda 111 employing nurses, and so that what we have done is unprecedented. Assuming these things were not there, right? What was going to happen to those of them? The figures would have gone to maybe 20%.
Interesting.
So we need to go on this tangent.
Okay. And
that is why Bawumia is the preferred candidate.
Okay.
Certainly. Not my own friend, John Dramani
Mahama. Leader, someone is, I think we have been told that because you have other events to attend to, we need to bring the, maybe next time we'll bring you in the evening, so that one day, me and you pay.
It's unlimited.
We can do it for a very long while. But thank you very much, Leader, for coming. I've received so many messages. People are calling, please. He's a very busy person, so we can't receive your calls. But hopefully we'll come back again, because it appears many of you are really enjoying the conversation. But because of the time situation, we need to also allow him to go and attend to some very urgent and important matters. Some of them will affect the nation. So please, let's allow him to go, so that we will not come and they will not accuse us of making this country get into a situation where there will be chaos. So, Leader, thank you very much for coming. We are grateful for your time. Hopefully we'll meet again. That's our show for now. It was an extended one, unprecedented one, and we need to bring it to an end at this point in time. For those of you who join us on Facebook, thank you very much for listening to the show and watching the proceedings. For those of you who listened on radio, thank you very much. And Leader, we are grateful that you joined us. We'll meet tomorrow. Have a very good morning.